Husqvarna produced one of the most competitive bikes in each class. One of the things which was really interesting about today was the spectrum, you know, from one end to the other, basically in testing the bikes, and they all use different products and different components, and they all have different ideas and a few different concepts, and that in itself was quite interesting. We tested out Dylan Walsh's bike. Obviously Dylan had a number of top 10s this year. Also as well, he won the British Championship. His bike is proven and certain, and so is he. Then we test out Jake Millward's bike, which is Chambers Husqvarna. That boy's definitely proven this year, and he was a standout performance for his rookie season. Elliott Banks-Browne's been proven. He's won a number of British Championships. He's run at GPs. You know, the boy can run at the sharp end at any given day. The Geartec team, they've really nurtured him and really looked after him, and they're prepared to meet all of his requirements and his needs. Me personally, I've been testing bikes for a long time now. Production bikes, prototype bikes, factory bikes. You know, I've been testing factory bikes since 2008, and near enough every year I've been on a factory bike test. So I've got a good understanding of, you know, of what it takes to have a good bike, or what a good bike is out on track. First, let's speak to the Revo boys and let's get the spec list. You know, let's see what the modifications have been done to Dylan's bike.
Starting off with the standard bike, it's pretty much, you know, we'll dyno a brand new standard bike as a baseline, and then from there, obviously, then we start with brand new engines out of brand new bikes. Cylinder head work, valve train, piston, camshafts. You know, we've been fortunate this last year that I've been working with quite a well-known engine designer. I don't think these engines are typically what, you know, you'd see in Prado's bike, but it's somewhere, probably not so far away. This year we pretty much stuck to a non-filled cylinder head, so we've probably sacrificed a little bit of the bottom end, but pretty much got a bike now that runs with very flat power, hits peak power at 11, and pretty much within half a horsepower holds that power to nearly 15,000. Our engines will go to GPs or to British Championship races, so pretty much they're doing on average about 5 hours. And then there's a routine strip and a rebuild, and there's normally a standard set of items that are replacing that, which would be things like timing chain. And then at 10 hours, then there'll be brand new pistons, conrods, etc., etc. And from a suspension point, we are working obviously with WP Factory Services. We are running with a 48mm cone valve on the front, and at the moment just the 3-way Trax unit. No, all in all, the bike is an excellent bike. It's a great bike out of the crate. We've made a better bike. Reliability, we've not really had many issues at all this year.
The thing that I found was interesting about Dylan's bike is as soon as I got on the bike was the setup. It was quite firm, which isn't surprising really, because obviously he's got the new style, you know, and the boy likes to scrub it, flick it, you know, he moves around the bike a lot, he handles the bike a lot, and you need a firm setup for that kind of riding style. The brakes were second to none. The power was good on the bike, but again, you know, the FC 250 in standard form is good. So what they've done is they've definitely modified that bike and made the bike faster. Have they made it like a factory bike? I'd say no. It's not like a factory engine in my opinion, but it's definitely a massive upgrade on the standard engine. It was a really good power delivery, and it used the gear range perfectly. A question that I always get asked is if I was to ride that bike, would it improve me? Would I be faster? The answer to that is yes, definitely. You know, because the team have definitely gone all out and pulled all the stops and certainly given Dylan everything that he needs to do the job at hand. The bike had great power, great usable power. There was nothing scary about the power. It didn't come in, you know, it didn't come in just one specific area. It just felt like it was an improvement right across the power range. So the power delivery was good, and the overall rev of the bike as well was brilliant. So it was just a massive upgrade over a stock bike. So the bike creates more options for you, so you can then, you know, you can have more options out on track, and you can be more creative. Next up was the FC 450, Chambers Husqvarna. Let's get the rundown of the bike spec from the man himself, Jake Millward.
The only thing that we have done to my bikes this year, like the race bikes and everything, the bikes are completely standard. We've just got an aftermarket exhaust on there. And the suspension, that has been the main thing, is just get the suspension set up right. And yeah, it is the 52mm cone valve suspension and the track shock. Put that in as soon as we got the bike, and it's obviously just played with it. Spent a couple of months trying to get it set up exactly how I want it, and we have done now. And yeah, there's two different maps on what you can use, is 1 and 2. 2 is a lot more aggressive and 1 is a lot more tamer for like generally like the hard pack tracks. But I just have it on number 2 on the more aggressive map, and it just seems to be good. Yeah, the standard brakes, we do run a oversized disc on the front just to help it with a bit more braking power and things like that. I don't think I've ever rode the bike to its like maximum potential. They're literally that fast, you just got to basically just take your time with it.
So first off, what Jake's achieved this year or this season has been super impressive, and he's super impressed most people around in the paddock, and especially the spectators. So when I was riding Jake's bike, the thing that I really liked about Jake's was, as soon as I got on it, I was just straight away at home, because the bike's standard. He's got the suspension set how he likes it. It didn't feel super fast. Yes, the bike in standard form is fast, but the Husky in itself with the 5-speed gearbox, you do change a little bit more in the gearbox over its rival 450, because the bike has a different power delivery. It didn't feel exactly like a production bike, you know, because obviously because of his setup and his suspension. But I mean, the map in there is a little bit different, and the gearing of his choice. But again, the bike in itself, you know, it just speaks volumes. Elliott's definitely unique. Definitely over the years has developed a style, knows what he likes, and he's chasing for that little bit extra in himself, and also that little bit extra in his bike. So he's changing his bike quite drastically to suit him.
So for us at Geartec, we start with a stock bike, and then the first thing we do really is take the suspension out. For this year as well, we changed from the 52mm forks to the 48 cone valves, and we changed a little bit in the engine, but honestly not a lot. The biggest change in the engine we do is ECU work really. So we work very closely with MotoHead and do a lot of development for the ECU, and just get the bike to suit me. I want whatever I do on my wrist, I want it to replicate the back wheel. If I really give it a handful, I want the back wheel to be able to give it a handful, and sometimes you get away from that with ECU work. You can make it really smooth, you can make it too hard hitting. From word go again, I change the handlebars, we go to the Renthal, we change the suspension to the cone valve, the exhaust, we get an FMF with a long header. Anything we can keep stock, we keep stock.
Now this year when I'd ride Elliott's bike and I rode around the track, I'm not going to lie, I just took a disliking to it. And the reason why, you know, one of it is his setup. When I was sitting in the cockpit, I was sitting on the bike, you know, the bars just felt quite far forward, and my body felt like I was transferring my weight more forward than what I'd like. When I was riding around on the bike, it just felt like the back was a little bit loose. The front also as well had a tendency to tuck, and for me the bike just didn't feel balanced. It had lost its balance, especially over a production bike. Power had a good feel to it. It did have a hit to it. That's his preference. So, you know, I can adapt to that, and I can comment onto that. But what I can't do is I can't adapt to a bike if I don't feel comfortable on it. And unfortunately, I didn't feel comfortable on Elliott's bike. He made it work. He certainly made it work at the end of the year at Landray, taking the win. What I found is most factory teams, you know, they're setting bikes up for the riders, for the GP riders, but they're always working in parameters, and the bikes always have a kind of a general feel and still keep the characteristics of that production bike. With Elliotts, I didn't feel that.